Hi, this is Lada from astrolada.com with your June 2018 horoscopes, and this month there is one big event happening in the stars, in the sky. This is Mars going retrograde, and I'm gonna walk you step by step what to do because it's a critical, pivotal period. It can affect you for the next 6-7 months after that. But before I start, just to remind you that on the 27th of May we're starting a foundational course with me on the 12 houses of astrology, house rulers, planets in houses. You don't need to know any astrology, and it's going to be 6 months, and it's only $200. If you get on before May 27th, you get $50 off, and after that it becomes $250. It's my most successful course, and I hope you enjoy it. But otherwise, Mars, and I'm doing the same intro for all the 12 signs because I want to explain first how Mars works before it goes retrograde. And Mars goes retrograde once every 2.5 years. It's a very rare influence, but especially when Mars has gone retrograde in Aquarius like 40 years ago the last time. So the opportunities and the changes in your life that can happen now will affect you in a way that they haven't affected that they haven't been like for 40 years, almost like 40 or 50 years actually. 1971 or something, Mars went retrograde in the same place. And what does it mean to Mars go retrograde? It goes retrograde towards the end of the month. It means that Mars will be closest to Earth. From our perspective, it becomes a super bright red angry star in the sky. It means it's very strong. A retrograde planet being so much closer to Earth has its influence overpowering. So basically it will be like a boot camp of Mars energy for us for about 2-3 months while Mars is retrograde. And the most intense period is when Mars is changing direction. So this is happening in June and then again in August, towards the end in August. So from the middle of June till the end of June, it's going to be super intense time for many of us in specific areas of their life. So basically Mars till now was moving forward. Just imagine it's like you're driving, you're sailing with your ship in the journey of life forward, and you're kind of doing it on automatic. And you reach to some point. This is Mars. Mars is our actions, how we move forward, how we proceed. And often, you know, when you're driving a car and you're always on the same road, you kind of zone out and you do it automatically. This is when Mars moves direct. There are no surprises, things go according to your expectations. But now Mars slows down at the end of June. From the middle of June it slows down, the end of June it makes a roundabout and starts tracking back in the first 10 degrees of Aquarius again. So it means like almost like you reach a point here, you're driving your car and now there is a blockage. So something happens in your life that will require you to change direction in regards to your actions, in regards to the path you're walking down on. And when you're driving normally, you don't think much, it's automatic. But when when there is a blockage or you have to find a different road, you have to use a lot more of your willpower and a lot of more concentrated and focused thought, because now you're not on automatic. You have to find different solutions, you have to look for a different path, you have to fix some problem. That's what happens when Mars starts slowing down around that period, from the middle of June till maybe till the end of June. And it will require you to be a lot more conscious and present with using Mars energy. And Mars energy is moving forward, or your assertiveness, how you do things, your initiatives and activities. You can't just proceed on automatic. You have to be way more careful, way more contemplative, way more map out each step carefully, because you can make a mistake, or you can somehow hurt yourself, or you can otherwise, if you just continue like before, you can't reach the journey that you're supposed to go on. So there will be this slowing down and starting to move backwards, which means we'll slow down. Something happens here from the middle of June till the end, some crisis situation usually, or something that you hit some wall. And you have to change your direction of action. You have to change your plan games. You have to be prepared to be more flexible. And when Mars moves retrograde, it acts more like its second ruler, like Scorpio. Because when Mars moves direct, it acts more like Aries. Aries is move forward, let's initiate things, let's move ahead, very spontaneous, very, almost without thinking action. But when it starts moving backwards, it gets the energies of Scorpio more. So it means like we have to be much more strategic, much more planning, much more patient. Mars in Scorpio is patient and careful and maneuvers carefully. We have to use our willpower with way more precision, and we have to engage the willpower way more than at other times. Than we normally engage it. So it's intense period. But the ultimate goal of this Mars retrograde will be to basically help you fix some situation that is not healthy in your life or that's not productive. It's the ultimate goal is to teach you to use your Mars energy, which is initiative, assertiveness, courage, in a more productive way. If you're someone who is overly angry, something will happen here to show you that you cannot continue like that. If you're overly bossy or pushy or assertive, you'd have to reevaluate your martial behaviors, maybe apologize to people, fix something due to your impulsive energies before. Or because some actions that you've done before which were not with so much thought. Or if you're someone who has lower energy of Mars, so who is not assertive, who allows others to take advantage of them, who is not initiative, again you'd have to reevaluate your Mars behaviors, and you might have to confront those people that are blocking you from being, that are scaring you from being assertive, and you have to assert yourself. You have to, so that's why a lot more fights happen, a lot more arguments while you're readjusting the level of your Mars energy, how you initiate things, how you move forward in life, how you fight for what you believe, so all those things we're going to talk about them one by one. And Marina is doing a webinar on Mars retrograde as well in June. You can check, it's very cheap, I think it's $20 only. You can check her webinar as well, and there's a link below, and join her as well to see personally how it's going to affect you, because those predictions that I do, they're more general. They don't see specifically in your horoscope, but in that webinar she'll show you how to do it. So for Leos, Leo rising, Sun or Moon people, Mars becomes retrograde in their 7th house of relationships. Wow, you'll feel it so much, especially if you have your Sun, Moon or Ascendant in the first 10 degrees of Leo. If you don't know what degrees you have your Sun, Moon or Ascendant if they're in Leo, check out my birth chart calculator. The first 10 degrees, so basically it means the July born Leos till the 3rd of July, till the 3rd of August as well, that will feel it the most if their sun is in the first 10 degrees basically, or those Leos that have a rising in the first 10 degrees, or those Leos that have moon in the first 10 degrees. But for all Leos, Mars is in the opposite sign of them, going retrograde there. Maybe they'll feel it to a less extent, but just be prepared. The ones that feel it the most are those that I mentioned. But what is it about? Mars is the planet of anger, and it goes retrograde in your 7th house of relationships. So there might be some, and becomes very intense, which means that you might be confronted with some opposition from others. It might be your marriage partner, it might be a boyfriend, girlfriend, it might be some associate, a partner, a client, a colleague, someone that you interact on a one-to-one basis. You'll be challenged by others. Someone else will press your buttons. Someone else will make you, maybe you might have to change your plans and direction because of someone else. Something can happen that you, as I said, you reach to the end of the what's it called? To the end of the rope, and you have to reevaluate that relationship. You have to re-examine how you're doing it. If there's too much anger, or someone is bossing the other too much or pressing the other too much, this might not be consistent, and some relationship might even be removed from your life. Some crisis can happen in regards to relationships starting from the end or from the middle of June, that you have to, if this relationship is worth it to be, that you have to, if you're going to weather that storm, you have to learn to be more cautious, to find other ways to behave with each other, to renegotiate things. Or if it's not someone who is meant to be in your life, they will leave. I've seen often. Sometimes people might even get divorced when Mars goes retrograde in the 7th house. Or if the relationship is, for me it happened once. Many years ago, I didn't break up with my partner, but we fought a lot, and we had to figure out the most sustainable way to be in a relationship. We had to talk a lot about that, and we reached some kind of crisis point that we had to turn around and re-examine what we want from the relationship, and we fixed it. And by the time Mars started moving direct, the crisis was averted, or it was fixed in some way. Also, if you allow others to, the 7th and 8th houses are both connected to relationships with others, and if someone is taking your power away, or someone is pushing you too much, being too aggressive, they can become even more so now when Mars starts turning direction. So again, you have to make, maybe you have to rebalance that in some way. But don't you start wars with others. Allow others to be the instigators, because when you start wars with someone, when Mars is about to get retrograde, usually you're the one who can lose it. But if others are attacking you in some way, or pressing your buttons, defend yourself, stand for yourself. That's good. You have more chance to win that battle. They might, for some people, even literally, I've seen when Mars is in the 7th house, they might have to go through some court case or something like that, fighting with another. So you have to navigate more cautiously, more intense battle and fight, as I said. But you might have to prepare better when Mars is retrograde, work hard on it. On another level, it can indicate also some business partnership being reevaluated or even removed from your life. What else is or clients? Sometimes, whenever I have Mars transiting the 7th house, even without going retrograde, I get some angry clients come back and dissatisfied. It happens, of course, but it happens to me when Mars is in that 7th house always. So if you're working with that, just be prepared that this will be more the case, so you don't overreact, because if you overreact, if you're not using this Mars like a Scorpio, but you're using as an Aries who goes and shoots everyone, it will create problems long term that you have to try to address for the next few months when Mars is retrograde. But if you act like a Scorpio Mars, which is be more strategic, more tactful, patient, wait it out, even if you're bearing the grudge, don't overreact on the moment with others, then you can maneuver well through that area, And what else is it? The 7th house is the house of sexuality. It can increase your it's a house of, together with the 8th house, 7th and 8th house are connected to sexual relationships actually it can, I've seen it increase the horniness of people when Mars is so close to the Earth from your 7th house, But otherwise, be careful from aggressive actions from others, with power struggles with others, fighting with others of some sort. I had some lady that, or maybe your partner can be going through some tough times, and you have to put some extra efforts to help them, because it's not necessarily that it's the 7th house is other people, your partner. So maybe you might, something critical can happen in their life that you need to change or to help them with. Or maybe some business partnership, you have to change direction there, to evaluate, to rebalance the powers and the balance of powers. So that's about it for you, Leos. Hopefully you're prepared for that. And again, as I said, on another level, someone from the past can come back to your life. Okay, let's not just scare you all the time. Sometimes Mars retrograde in the 7th house can work in a very unexpectedly positive way as well, even though it's a malefic. But someone that there's something uncompleted with can reappear in your life, so you can readdress that issue with them. So for some of you it might actually mean, and some critical situation can happen from the middle of June till the end, that brings that person back into your life for you to readdress the balance of powers or some past hurt that hasn't been addressed before. So that's about it. And one good thing is that from the 15th of June, while Mars is starting to become retrograde in your 7th house of others, Venus will be in your 1st house in Leo from the middle of June. When the energies become most intense, you are going to receive a lot of help from Venus, the goddess of peace, well, just like Mars is the goddess of war. So you have here the power of negotiation. You're the diplomatic one. You should be the diplomatic one. Someone, if you're Leo rising, Leo sun or moon, well, someone can be challenging you. The power for you is through Venus, because you have control of Venus. The others have control of Mars. You know, they're like with the gun towards you, but you're like, oh, you're so nice, you know, let's negotiate how to deal with that. So this is what saves you, and this is what helps you pass through this period more gracefully, and helps you basically even be more calm or more collected, or receive divine, through your graciousness, rebalance and readdress the situation. Plus it can be good also in certain situations when Venus enters the first house, for you to even to start looking better, to do some to improve your physical appearance in some way as well. Okay, so that's what I have for you guys. Hopefully that prepares you well for the coming situation. If you want to know specifically how it affects you, because this is quite general for just for your sun, moon or ascendant sign, but if you want to know specifically how you're affected in your own horoscope by the Mars retrograde, check out Marina's webinar, which will be in June. So she'll speak about, like a professional astrologer would check your personal horoscope to see how Mars affects you. So thank you very much.